To me, the glass seed is an ideal metaphor on many levels for spiritual growth and spiritual experience, and in particular with my mother and her illness. If you think about how a seed acts in the natural world, it takes on moisture. It's lying in the soil. It's been protected over the winter. It's got this little husk that surrounds the inner part of the seed. And as it takes on moisture and the ground warms up and the spring rains soften that husk, then the husk just naturally swells and opens, and the germinated new life springs up from within that. So it's a very soft and natural and gentle process that nature has evolved. When you think of a glass seed, you've got a seed that is, well, you just imagine, how would a glass seed germinate? The only way a glass seed could germinate would be by shattering. And I believe that my mother's germination into the fullness of who she really was through the shattering of her mind in Alzheimer's disease. So that's one piece of the metaphor. And the other piece is that I think in spiritual life, the seed is a common concept for growth, and we all begin as spiritual seeds, really. And the glass seed is an appropriate metaphor for spiritual growth because of the translucence of glass. You've got that transparency which is so necessary. You've got a bit of reflection as well through the glass. You've got light and sparkle. And all of these visual images and visual associations with a glass seed, to me, were very appropriate expressions of spiritual growth. I think that, my mom was a really self-disciplined and focused and supremely intelligent human being. And the illness attacked the intelligence of her mind on a rational basis. But Western medicine hasn't really considered what other kind of intelligences there might be that are not affected by the illness, or that might even be accentuated and brought forward because the illness attacks the mind. And this is something that's a theory of mine, just from my own experience, but I feel that the Alzheimer's disease was shutting down her rational being. And because my mother was still fully alive, something else had to compensate for that shutdown. And in her case, it's my belief, and perhaps in the case of others, I don't know, that the non-rational or intuitive or heart-centered aspect of her being really stepped to the forefront and began to compensate in a sense, or began to just step into a place where suddenly there was room for it, right? There was room for that intuitive expression to come forward. So that's how I've chosen to see what was happening, and that's part of, the whole purpose of the glass seed is to explore, and one of the purposes of it, to explore whether or not there might be some gift in this tragic illness. Mm-hmm. Is there something redemptive about what happens to people when they go this way? We in Western culture tend to see it as entirely as a series of losses with no gains. And that particular experience with my mother was an example of something that I gained that was an enormous gift to me, because she helped me realize that my primary work had to be to take that something I had in me and start to get it out, and to do it authentically.